Hello my loves, and welcome back to a new video. So today we're going to be talking about signs that dark goddesses are calling you. So what to look out for, and if you're actually meant to be embarking on this journey of working with your darker feminine, dark goddess archetype energies. So we're going to be looking at 7 signs that can definitely help you indicate whether or not you're supposed to be on this journey, or if they are trying to contact you, or this energy is trying to be activated within you. So number 1 is you're being forced into shadow work. So this can usually be in numerous ways, but the biggest one is some sort of big life altering events, a tower moment. So this can usually be like quite a severe betrayal or heartbreak, a breakup of a relationship, usually romantically, or sometimes it can be like an onset of like a serious illness. It can sometimes be, you know, like getting fired from your work, losing your house. So it's usually like some sort of big loss, some sort of big death within your life. But it's usually something that triggers a very, very deep pain. And this is usually the number 1 sign that you're about to embark on this journey. Because whenever we talk about dark goddesses, basically their purpose is to help transform you by you descending into like the underworld or the hell realms or that type of thing. So this will come in the form of challenges. This will come in the form of like big tower moments to really push you to either seeing some sort of harsh truth. So sometimes it can be like masks falling from people, you realizing that someone is like being abusive towards you, cheating, lying, that they were a narcissist the whole time. It can sometimes be like quite brutal and painful. So this will be like a life altering event, or you'll just feel like your life is turning to shit. So it's like sometimes multiple things, not just one, but it will kind of be like this big, sometimes ego death as well. So sometimes it is like a life altering ego death, but not always just because you've been refusing to like see certain truths about yourself. It can definitely be that, but sometimes it can be, you know, just you not realizing that certain things around you have been draining you or siphoning you, or they're very toxic and you're not meant to be there, or you're not meant to be with a certain person, or whatever the case. So this is usually the number 1 sign when they'll start to like appear to you, especially if you've had this kind of pattern within your life. So usually if you've come from like a background of like quite severe childhood trauma or betrayals or numerous toxic relationships, at times this is basically like the tree of death initiation. So you're kind of like having to descend into the underworld, like Persephone with Hecate and that type of thing. It's like you're descending into the underworld, into your subconscious, into your shadow, into the depths of pain and despair to ascend. Because sometimes we have to go through these really dark challenges to get away from toxic things that may have been damaging you, siphoning you, making you sick, or whatever the case. And number 2 is you're feeling drawn to darkness, death, or the occult. So again, this is all to do with transformation. This is all to do with alchemy, of like transmuting pain and despair into empowerment. So it's that rebirthing energy that is basically what these death, darker energies symbolize. And with the occult, that is basically going into your subconscious to basically learn how to alchemize energies within your own self as well. So this can sometimes be just you naturally being drawn to that anyway. So that's always been a part of your personality, being more drawn to gothic aesthetics or that type of thing, or dark feminine energy. Or it could be a new thing. So it could be something that's now kind of being shown to you in your life. And this can even be like, you know, seeing certain, you know, relationship advice, you know, type people talking about dark feminine energy, or just coming across people talking about dark goddesses, or even this video itself. So it's like you're naturally being drawn to this kind of darker wild woman or wild masculine energy. So even witchcraft and of course the occult, things that people usually demonize or shy away from, is like now you're kind of facing that fear of going into the underworld within your own psyche and externally. So this can be also just being drawn to even new forms of like media or entertainment that kind of teach or show about trauma or shadow work. So even watching more films about that type of thing. without fear. So it's kind of like you're now basically integrating your shadow. You're starting to be called to do that, because that's what dark goddesses, especially like Lilith, Hecate, Kali, the Morrigan, Nyx, like these goddesses, this feminine energy, drag you to the underworld. But because it's needed, it's needed to heal, it's needed for you to basically see certain parts that have been hidden, suppressed, or oppressed. So this is why you may be called to now this kind of darker energy. You've had enough of like spiritual bypassing, toxic new age spirituality. You've had enough of like the love and light fluffy shit. Not, you know, completely demonizing light energy, because of course that is just as powerful and important, but there's only so much I can do, and unfortunately it's exploited a hell of a lot. You need to have both. You need to have your light and your dark activated so you're whole. So this could be why you're now being called to do that, to look at that without shame, without guilt, without feeling like you're doing something bad or doing something wrong. So this can be, you know, a huge sign when you kind of like had enough of that type of energy and you're craving that darkness, that authenticity, and all of those types of things. Something that you may have like bypassed or suppressed within yourself. And now it's like you're seeing almost the beauty within it. You're starting to almost romanticize it in a way, but in a way that's not toxic or, you know, immature, and a more mature light. It's like you're now having a deeper understanding of darker psychology even, because you need to. So it's like you're now seeing everything as a whole. That's really what enlightenment is all about. It's not just purely focusing on light. You have to also have discernment of darkness. This is what Persephone represents. So Persephone is obviously the goddess of spring, but she was dragged to the underworld by Hades. So, and obviously she was then helped by Hecate, lighting the way with her torches and her keys, guiding her through the underworld. So this represents, you know, that duality, but she's combined that within herself perfectly. That's ultimately what most women or priestesses or healers or shamans, whatever you want to call yourself, naturally need to be drawn to. That is divine feminine energy. It's not about being a bypassing, you know, love and light hippie. It's so raw and deep and brutal. It's like you need to go to the underworld to basically be initiated into understanding genuine love and light. So number 3 is you're entering your villain era. So this is very symbolic, when usually an empath will turn into what's called a dark empath. Now, this probably needs a whole video on itself, because most people really misunderstand what a dark empath actually is. They mistake it for like, oh, a narcissist in disguise. That is not the case at all. A dark empath is basically when an empath has been betrayed, gone through some sort of dark pain or suffering, and then they've shut down their heart. So a really good example of this is actually the film Maleficent. So you'll see, like with Maleficent, she was once this kind of fairy, very, you know, like light feminine energy, you know, very open-hearted. Obviously she falls in love with the king, that man or prince, and then he cuts off her wings, he betrays her, and then after that she turns very dark, very cut off, she shuts down her heart. It doesn't mean she's evil, but it turns her very mistrusting, very just cold eventually. So this can happen a lot to empaths, is when you basically get so brutally betrayed that you shut down your heart. But this is a process, and this can then basically help lead you, which is what the dark goddesses will help you do, is understand that you don't have to stay in that pain. You don't have to keep your heart shut. You just need to learn fucking boundaries. So this is why that villain dark feminine era needs to manifest, needs to be learned, so you can basically go about your life and give your love and empathy to people who are deserving of it. And when someone does betray you, you can shut that door, cut that cord, and move on. So this is why I have my cord cutting spell service, which I have done on myself, you know, for ex-partners, and it's been very effective. So this is what this energy is all about, is choosing yourself finally, because too many empaths, they can be, you know, the shadow of an empath is being a martyr, is you thinking you can fix and heal everyone, and you will literally kill yourself in the process. And trust me, I used to be like this. This was the biggest shadow I had to learn, you know, to not do anymore, is to stop putting, basically self-abandoning and self-betraying myself for those who, you know, did not deserve it at all, for those who were narcissistic or energy vampiric, who did not reciprocate the same level of love and support that I was like giving to them. You know, as an empath, it's not your job to save and rescue, you know, everyone. You can't, rehabilitate monsters, okay? So this is a very brutal lesson that most empathic women and men have to go through and learn, because unfortunately you are like prime prey to narcissistic people, like I've shared in my other videos. So this is like a brutal initiation and lesson of like truly learning self-worth, boundaries, and not allowing your empathy to override those boundaries. Of course, trauma bonds can make this far more complicated. So it's not always just, oh, you being too kind. But ultimately, this is a very powerful sign. And one of the most important, that dark goddesses are calling you that you're ready to be stepping into this energy, that you're now feeling, or you're starting to say no, that you're starting to put yourself first, that you're starting to stop people pleasing, that you're no longer, you know, tolerating narcissistic abuse, manipulation, and, you know, anything that disrespects you, that drains you, that harvests your energy, you know, physically, mentally, or spiritually. And of course, for most empaths, this can feel really uncomfortable, really alien, when you actually say no without guilt, when you stop trying to fix and chase people, stop trying to rescue people. It can feel very, very strange and very like, you know, you'll feel a lot of guilt and shame. But ultimately, this is something that you need to learn. You have to learn not to, you know, to stop doing this, that you allow people to come to you. You know, those who are self-sabotaging or destroying themselves, you have to let go. So this is also a process of learning to let go. You know, when you enter your villain era, it's not about becoming a bitch or evil or anything like that, but it's about becoming more detached in a healthy manner. So it doesn't mean that you turn avoidant, but it means you learn really fierce boundaries. You basically conjure that sword, and you don't fear cutting cords anymore. If someone shows you disrespect, you fucking get them out the door instead of trying to explain and prove yourself and chase them and heal them. It's like, no. As soon as you start to see those red flags, it is done. They are out the fucking door. This is what the dark goddess energy is all about, is you're no longer tolerating disrespect or abuse, because life is too short. You've not got time to waste on people that are going to, you know, mess you around. So this is like a sacred rebellion energy. And this is really more to do with like Lilith. So this is like a Lilith energy that can be activated, that you're no longer tolerating, you know, men abusing you, using you for sex, using your body, that lustful, disgusting energy. It's like you're no longer tolerating that. You're saying no. You're rebelling against all of that in a healthy way, in an empowered way. So if you are interested in activating your dark feminine energy, as a quick side note, I do have a 50% Halloween sale on my dark feminine activation ebook, and it also has 3 powerful rituals, including a cord cutting, also womb healing activation to clear all toxic masculine energies away from your womb, because remember, your womb is your creation, your manifestation portal. So it's very important to cleanse that. There's also a 3rd powerful dark goddess ritual where you self-initiate to banish your kind of old self. It's a death and rebirth ritual. So this will be really powerful to do around this time of year, especially on Halloween, but whenever you feel ready, because it's, you know, not to be taken lightly. So read the full book first, but it's very, very life-changing, because it's really now you're committing to being that new reborn person that no longer is going to be disrespected, abused. So it's a very, very powerful way to shift your identity, which will ultimately shift your whole fucking life. So if you do want that 50% off sale, it will end roughly November 3rd, and that will be down in the link below. So number 4 is your intuition will be strengthening. Also psychic abilities and gifts. So that truly is like one of the biggest things you'll probably notice as well as you progress kind of further along your journey of working with dark goddesses, is you'll probably start to see that your intuition is getting sharper. Because again, this is all about removing illusions. So when you embark with darker energy and you go into this initiation of like, you know, really disillusioning yourself, doing that deep shadow work, you will start to see it externally too. So this can be massively helpful for having discernment with people and that type of thing. Or another side note is you may notice that you trigger people more because you kind of will build this no bullshit inner lie detector energy. You will notice when people are lying to you, or you'll be able to read people really, really well. And this can be obviously uncomfortable and also like a gift, because you can notice certain things that you may not even want to notice with people, but ultimately you will have a level of protection with goddesses, with these dark goddesses as well. So especially when you get more committed to working with them on a deeper level, they will step in and they'll show you things. So sometimes, you know, you may be on a date with someone or with a friend or something, and you'll get a very bad gut feeling. And then you will later find out that, you know, they're actually really deceptive and a really horrible person. Or you will meet someone and you can see or read their energy, and then they start to get a bit, you know, triggered by your energy because they can't handle it. So this can cause people to even run away from you because they're scared of you. So this is kind of more of a kind of, you know, difficult thing to deal with. Trust me, I've had this in the past. I've literally had, you know, exes cry to me and, you know, run saying, oh, I can't talk to you because talking to you, you know, you see everything. Talking to you is like talking to God, you know, literally in tears. And this was an avoidant narcissist. So it's like, you know, they all run from you and they literally can't handle your energy because you are not, basically you can't be lied to. So this can of course be a gift, but also a bit of a curse, because this can make it difficult to have friendships and that type of thing, because you'll always kind of feel when someone's being deceptive. But ultimately, it's a powerful, powerful gift, because not to do with people, but you'll also start to see it within the world. So you'll just like intuitively know when something is off. You'll intuitively know when something's deceptive. I've had this happen timeless times with, you know, certain things going on in the world that I can't mention here. But every time something was presented, it's like I just knew, no, that's a psyop, that's, you know, a conspiracy, whatever the case, that's oppressive. It's a trick. So you'll basically have this gift of knowing, this very strong intuition of knowing, okay, that's a trick. Or you'll start to notice that you're picking up on these types of things. So, you know, in all cases, whether it be people or just what's going on in the world, you know, having that kind of deep spiritual awakening, also ego death energy. Or you'll just seem to have visions, even like way more intense dreams and that type of thing. So even having prophetic dreams, you know, visions, even hearing things, like you'll start to really be getting deeper into psychic gifts or abilities. Again, this is connected to your golden shadow, because this can also be literal psychic gifts of like, you know, being clairvoyant, clairaudient and that type of thing. So again, like feeling something or knowing something before it happens, hearing things, being more clairaudient, getting downloads, getting messages and that type of thing, literally from dark goddesses or literally from spirit guides or whatever the case. So it's like sometimes this can freak people out and understandably so. Some people can be like, oh my God, am I going crazy? If they're not used to this type of thing. But that, you know, you're not, don't worry. You just have to ground yourself. If it gets too much, please, please, please remember to ground yourself. So, you know, as a side note, but ultimately this is what will help you, because you're becoming more of an open antenna. So that's what it truly is your third eye, your pineal gland is getting more activated, but you're also not like bypassing darkness, you know, like most people do within like New Age, even religion and that type of thing. Is like you're actually now seeing things as a whole, like what I was saying with that enlightenment, you know, energy. You're now seeing everything. you're no longer like wearing a blindfold. So this can activate a lot within your body, within your spirit, within your auric fields. It can be a little uncomfortable, it can be intense, but it can also be like magical as well and euphoric. You can have like extremely profound experiences, you know, even astrally within your dreams or within meditations, or even like in the physical realms as well. So you may be noticing these types of things a lot. Of course, use like protection. I did do, you know, a protection video, so go check that out. Also, to wear protective jewelry can definitely help ground you in that type of thing. I do actually have another collaboration within this video with Otter Spirit. So again, I have mentioned Otter Spirit before. They're a really good company that produce AAA grade, you know, crystal jewelry. And they were kind enough to send me their Halloween sets, which I really, really love, because these are more kind of like protective, heart healing, even confidence, you know, energy as well. So this is the Halloween set. They are a beautiful set of colors of like oranges, greens, brown. So they're very earthy. But what I really love about this set is the orange one is obviously orange aventurine. So they're quite rare, this set. So that is really, really good for your sacral. It's the chakra that most women do, you know, struggle with, myself included. So this is very, very good for balancing your sacral, cleansing it, but also giving you that boost of confidence, like I was saying before. And this one, so the brown one, is leopard skin. So again, it's like a very good root heart chakra type crystal. Very grounding as well. And with the leopard skin, it's also to do with strength. So it's got a lot of like kind of Sekhmet energy, to be honest. So Sekhmet is the Egyptian goddess. Again, she's like kind of dual. She does have dark elements to her, but she's that feline dark goddess of war, but also of love and healing. So, and with this one, so with the green one, if you can see here, is unikites or unikites. So this one is very good for the heart chakra. So this, of course, is like all to do with healing, obviously heart. So very good for heartbreak and that type of thing. So this is why I like this stack, because it's more kind of rare crystals, but they go really well together. So it's very good for that kind of darker feminine energy of like protection, confidence, strength, but also healing your heart. So if you do want to get Otter Spirit, as always, I do have a discount on. So use my code, which I'll put down here and in the description box and in the comments. And then you can get yourself this set. But I do really love Otter Spirit because they obviously give a donation to the Sea Otter charity with every purchase that you do get. So you're getting jewelry and you're helping sea otters. So it's like, okay, it's great. And number 5 is you feel their presence and you have started to see synchronicities and symbols of them. So this will be a good one to watch. Go watch my signs and synchronicities video that I done previously. But this is obviously one of the biggest things as well, of course, is you'll start to have like crazy synchronicities and also seeing kind of like animal totems or symbols that are connected to certain dark goddesses. So you're not always meant to like work with every single dark goddess. You know, you can't really like pick them. Is more effective, I found, when you are called to them. So this is why it's important to learn what symbols are connected to who, and kind of like just who you seem to be coming across more often and what sort of like traits they have that are connected to you. So obviously with myself, like I said in my Hecate video, I saw so many symbols that were connected to her. So the triple moon symbol, you know, black dogs, crows, keys, other symbols that I saw that were connected to her, like insane synchronicities as well, through things that people will say to you or things that you see in movies or films, even in songs. Like it's absolutely endless, like how many synchronicities and symbols you will see. But usually it will be, you know, to do with like animal totems and certain like actual sigils and certain symbols. So usually the triple moon is a big one. But also like, you know, crows, ravens, snakes, dogs and that type of thing. Spiders is a huge one. Anything that's like, you know, more connected to darker animals, or animals that are connected to, you know, certain, you know, deities. Even dragons is a huge one as well. So being called or seeing, you know, loads of dragon symbolism, because that is hugely, you know, a big element of like the divine feminine is actually dragon spirits. Again, that's a whole other video, but it's really heavily connected to more of that kind of dark feminine energy of like connecting to both your light, but also your inner dragon. So, you know, there's many symbols. Go watch my other signs and synchronicities video, my Hecate video for that. But usually if you just keep seeing their name is a big one, or you keep just coming across images of them or that type of thing, like randomly, like you don't really look for it, it just kind of comes to you. Like that's what happens with me with Hecate. I can't even remember how I first came across her. Things just started to come across, and then I put together the puzzle pieces of like past synchronicities, and then figured out, oh, that actually meant Hecate, that meant her, that was her energy all along. So this is probably what you'll notice as well, is you'll realize they've always been there. They've just been waiting or dormant. So it's kind of like now you're being called to it because you're ready, or you've gone through some sort of massive tower moment, or huge psychic attack, or narcissistic abuse, or something like that, that's pulled you to now be like, right, you got to step into your dark feminine energy once and for all to survive this, to, you know, learn and to grow and to thrive. So basically like have that phoenix rising moment. Even phoenixes is a huge symbol to do with dark feminine energy. So, you know, big one will be like snakes, phoenixes, dragons, that type of thing, to really start embarking and basically having that death and rebirth cycle is huge. Even threes as well, so seeing certain numbers like 13, 333 is a huge one. But yeah, there's so much. But seeing that, even having dreams connected to that as well, so that will be more advanced, more like deep. If you actually dream of dark goddesses or have like interactions in the astral or in lucid dreams, even having animals like visiting you, coming to your house, or you seeing them in random places is a huge one. Like I've always noticed, like Weirdly where I live, there's not many cats. There used to be where I lived before, but whenever I pray or, you know, intentionally work with Hecate or speak with her or ask for her energy to be presented to me, I'll get visited by a black cat. But it will literally be behind my house and it'll be like looking at me, sitting there. Is actually insane. This is why Halloween or Samhain is a very good time to be doing dark goddess work, even during winter and Yule, because the veil is extremely thin right now. So number 6 is you've always been targeted by darkness. So again, kind of like what I was saying with number 1, you may have a history of like, you always seem to attract narcissists, you always seem to attract abusive people, that type of thing. You come from a family line of a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse. So because this is like usually what the most advanced healers or shamans or oracles usually come from, is you're born into generational bloodlines where there has been a lot of trauma, a lot of injustice, a lot of like suppression, oppression and that type of thing, a lot of pain, and you've come here to be the cycle breaker. And this is what this dark goddesses will call and help you to do, because ultimately that is the key. But you need dark goddess energy to help you do this. You know, it is said that demons fear the divine feminine the most. They fear the divine feminine energy the most. And this is why religion has, you know, completely demonized and removed the divine feminine, you know, from Abrahamic religions itself, which again is a whole other video. But this is why. It's because that divine feminine energy of light and dark, because remember, women are more connected to the spirit world, to the spirit worlds, more so than men. Men are more grounded. They're more of that sun energy. But with women, you're supposed to be more in that kind of underworld moon energy. We're more connected to spirit because of your womb portal. And this is why even like more advanced priestesses, when you're really more advanced, you can do powerful exorcisms and all that type of thing, you know, not just, you know, in the spirit but in the flesh. So, but that's a whole other story. But basically, You would have been targeted either spiritually by actual, you know, demonic energies and that type of thing. You may have been brought up as a medium, having loads of night terrors and nightmares as a child, or you've just had it in human form a lot. So this is why now they're calling you to activate this dark, fierce energy. So once and for all, you can fight against it. Medusa is a big goddess for this, because she obviously was, you know, literally raped, abused, and made into, you know, being a literal monster because of the torment that she went through. So this is why Medusa, again, she's so helpful for women who've been through, you know, sexual trauma, sexual abuse and that type of thing. Even people trying to destiny swap with you. Again, go check out my video for that. You massively need to work with dark goddess energy, because you need to build that shield. You need to learn how to protect yourself, and this energy is vital, absolutely vital for that. And number 7, the final sign, is you have priestess memories. So what I mean about this is you feel like you've done it before. There's something, again, very deep inside you. And this may not be evident, you know, when you're younger. It may take time, because sometimes that golden shadow, remember, it will take years for you to even have awareness of it. So with this, it's kind of like, but, you know, you would have always felt a bit like an alien. You would have felt like an outcast, or something was very different about you. You don't quite fit in to society. You're very much called to this kind of deeper work. You're called to do something of like a spiritual nature, or something to do with healing, or fighting for justice, or activism, or something like that. Or you're literally called to priestesshood. So it's like you may have actually done it before. So in a past life, or even within your own generational bloodline, you may have had ancestors who were, you know, priestesses of Hecate, or even Isis, or Sekhmet, or whatever the case. You may have literally done this line of work before. So this is why, you know, sometimes these goddesses will come to you again to be like, continue the work. So it's like you'll have this unmet skills and talents, and energy that's kind of like laying dormant. And again, this is why, like I was saying in sign number 6, you're targeted a hell of a lot, because you do have all of this energy, this power that a lot of the time is hugely suppressed. So this is why they come to you to be like, come on, like activate it again, so you can actually be on this journey of helping humanity. So you could even have like past witch wound trauma as well. You could even have religious trauma as well, as a side note. So you could even have like memories of being condemned. So not just having memories of like doing some sort of spiritual line of work or healing, or being very called to this type of energy. You may also feel like you have a witch wound. So having a witch wound is a huge sign within itself too. So again, go watch an older video I done called Signs That You May Have Been Killed in a Past Life, because a lot of women who have witch wounds are massively drawn or called to work with dark goddesses. So again, you can transmute that fear once and for all into empowerment, so you can activate your golden shadow with your shadow, so you can basically get back to what you need to be doing, of like helping humanity, helping yourself, healing generational trauma. So, you know, obviously there'll be so many different things that people are meant to be doing, you know, on their path. But ultimately you'll feel it within yourself that you're meant for something. So if you do need more one-to-one guidance, then I do have a sale on my oracle card reading service. So if you want one-to-one help with myself personally, then book in an oracle reading where I can help give you more closure, more guidance, also help of like, you know, going through this underworld journey if you're already currently going through this transition. If you want to learn how to do powerful spell work and watch video demos, also I have a dark goddess pick a card reading. You can join my Patreon, the Goddess Coven, where I share darker truths, occultic truths. I share spell and ritual demos. I also do full and new moon energy updates, and also pick a card readings. So currently there is one that I recently posted about what dark goddess message, so a channeled message that you need to hear currently. So if you want to join the coven, then click down below. And again, if you want to activate your dark feminine energy, then take advantage of the 50% sale that I do currently have on my ebook and ritual guide. So until next time, my loves, I'm sending you so much love, so much light. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Also click the notification bell so you get notified with my future uploads. Until next time, please stay fierce, protect yourself. I'm sending you so much love. Ahimsa.